Hey up YouTube, I'm Eric, thanks for clicking on the video. Today we're going to be talking about a very confusing thing in the Loonaverse, and that would be time. Now, if you do end up liking the video, please do leave a like. It really does help support the channel and makes it easier for other theorists to find too. That being said, if you like what I do here and you want to see more videos like this in the future, consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, if you have any questions about the Loonaverse, or if you're confused with any parts of the Loonaverse, or just have Luna questions in general you want me to answer, leave them in the comments and your comment might be featured in a future video. But here we go with how time works in the Loonaverse. In the Loonaverse, time works just about the same in our world. It's always moving forward. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Well, not exactly. For any Loonaverse video from Loona, as of right now, the story can really only go in one way, and that is backwards. Because they already gave us the ending of the Loonaverse in Girlfriend. But that doesn't mean we can't go back and elaborate more on existing parts of the story to further explain how the moon took on its new form. If you want a further explanation of why I think this scene in Girlfriend is the end of the verse, go check out this video where I explain it. But they can reuse ideas from other music videos and recreate or reimagine it in an updated way, which we have seen happen plenty of times before. For example, the Yojin alone in a field scene in Why Not is pretty much the exact same as her one in the Hi Hi music video. Scenes from Everyday I Love You and New refer back to the same event. And even the Butterfly music video was used to show almost every event that already was shown that led up to the Hi Hi music video. But one thing is certain, every music video will inevitably lead to this moment, with the new moon that Loona created lies still in color. This is the reason why the eclipsing of the Loona logo at the start of almost every Loona video is such a hard thing to explain, because we do know that it is a hint telling us that whatever happens in that video is from the past or the future. But from when in the past, the eclipse from right to left, or from when in the future, the eclipse from left to right. To properly explain the eclipsing, there has to be a singular point of reference that makes it so either argument is true, which there hasn't been one yet. Also, from what we have right now from each video from Loona that involves the Loonaverse, we do see time progression, meaning that there's never been a moment in the Loonaverse where any of the members have gone back in time or to the future, has the power to control time, or time has looped. Well, again, not exactly, specifically for there being a chance of time travel and looping. We do know that the Loonaverse world is based on a Mobius strip, which is a non-orientable infinite loop. Non-orientable mean that if you were to look into a mirror in that world, our image in the one we see in the mirror would be indistinguishable. This means that instead of our mirror having that mirror-like effect, it would show as normal. Sound familiar? Now how about the loop? Well, this one's a tricky one because with each Loonaverse video Loona has, there is time progression in just about every scene, meaning that the events of that video could be placed in a timeline and not actually overlap with each other. But a loop is inevitable when it comes to Mobius strip, right? So the question now would be, how could there not be a loop yet still be a loop within the Loonaverse Mobius strip? The answer lies in front of us. Well, actually, Girlfriend, and Everyday I Love You, and New, and Rain 51 dB, and a lot of others, I guess. It's the cassette and VHS tapes. From my research on the Mobius strip, I found that they can be implemented for the magnetic tapes for recording sound via cassette tapes and video via VHS tapes to preserve the recording longer. You could also play them in an infinite loop if the data was on both sides of the magnetic tape of the cassette or VHS tape, and if the magnetic tape was in the shape of a Mobius strip. So, how does this apply? I'm about to blow your mind. Alright? So, you might want to sit down for this. Looking at the Loonaverse Mobius strip as if it were a magnetic tape in a cassette tape or VHS tape, the data or whatever was recorded on that cassette tape or VHS tape can be overwritten and replaced with different data at any point on that tape. This means that every detail on the Loonaverse Mobius strip can be replaced by something or someone else. Now the question is, how? Well, we actually don't have a lot to go off of this right now, as they've only started showing member switching in Why Not with Hyunjin and Cherry, and Star with Yojin, Hasa, and Chu. Though my early theory for this, specifically for members switching places, is through some type of touch, as we see in Hyunjin and Cherry do, and in a way they switch places. All of this to answer the question, how could there not be a loop, yet still be a loop within the Loonaverse Mobius strip? I just fixed the Loonaverse timeline. I'm actually Universe Brain. Thank you. So, let's talk about these cassette tapes used in Loonaverse. Let's start with the one in Girlfriend, where Kimlip rewinds a cassette in a cassette player, and there is this part where it looks like Kimlip runs in an endless loop. This makes a lot of people believe that this is them going back in time to fix whatever happened in the Loonaverse. But here's the thing about cassette tapes, they don't do that, even in the Loonaverse. To explain this, you gotta know what cassette tapes or anything that holds data for playback really are. Quite literally, they are storage devices that hold data that happened in the past. This means that Kimlip rewind the cassette tape isn't them going into the past, but rather rewinding them playing a memory or an event that already happened. Which again, if you watch my Tales of the Loonaverse series, specifically the Odd Eye Circle episode, you would know what they did, and the loop that Kimlip is running is simply just her replaying the memory over and over. I also mentioned this in my Odd Eye Circle episode of Tales of the Loonaverse, but it's also worth noting that although time travel doesn't exist in the Loonaverse, there has been a moment where Kimlip looks into the future with her odd eye and mimics someone shooting something. Now for the cassette tapes in Everyday I Love You and New, because they use the same VV cassette tape. Remember, cassette tapes are memories. Everyday I Love You and New in the bowling alley or roller rink are the same event, but in a different context. The things that happen with Vivi and Eve in New is the real event, and Everyday I Love You is Vivi's memory of that event, which is why Everyday I Love You has a 4:3 aspect ratio. The aspect ratio typically is used in film to trigger that sense of nostalgia. Okay, I can hear some of you yelling at your screen, what about the Jinso Why Not scene where the rain stops mid-air? Well, person on the internet, have we forgotten Jinsoul in Singing in the Rain, where immediately after she got her odd eye powered, it suddenly stopped raining? It's like how in Why Not, where the rain stops in midair and floats upwards. This is how the rain stops in Singing in the Rain. Jinsoul doesn't control time, she controls rain. Might be weather in general, but there's nothing really to prove other weather types other than rain. But hey, if you like the video, please do leave a like. It really does help support the channel and allows other theories to find the video too. If you like what I do here and you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit the subscribe button. Again, if you have any questions about the Loonaverse, or if you're confused with any parts of the Loonaverse, or just have Luna questions in general and you want me to answer, leave them in the comments and your comment might be featured in a future video. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.